Qantas. So anyway, let's steam into the news. Now, generally speaking, what happens at this point is I introduce a story and then Jake talks about it. But this is actually... Sometimes I do like to put the rubber gloves on and do some work myself. This is actually a story.
It's a rare treat.
It is a rare treat. It's a rare treat. This is a story I wrote, which is probably the biggest story of the week, which is this massive overhaul of Qantas's frequent flyer program. Now, generally speaking, we wouldn't write stories about like a particular new offer within the frequent flyer schemes because I kind of think that's doing someone's PR, and also that's the trade of executive travel and all those other terrible publications. But this was actually a major change to it. And essentially the kind of prelude to this is that Qantas have had a lot of criticism that it's very easy to earn Qantas points, but it's actually quite difficult to spend them on Qantas flights. And one of the reasons for this is that in the kind of all the mumbo jumbo, you could only spend them, or it really have to get these classic, they call them classic reward seats. So rather than just getting your points and just booking any kind of flight you want, it has to be a particular type of designated seat. And of course, the critics would say these are the seats that actually they struggle to sell and nobody really wants anyway. So previously, each year, 5 million classic reward seats were available. And of course, there were more options if you wanted to spend some of your points with a bit of actual real money. So what Qantas has done is kind of address these concerns by making an additional 20 million seats available to book with points. However, rather than these being classic reward seats, they are what they're calling classic plus seats. And the gist is that firstly, these will cost a lot, well, not a lot more, but they will cost significantly more in some occasions. But the amount of points they will cost more will shift depending on the flight, depending on the route, depending on the time of year, etc. So unlike the classic reward ones, which kind of broadly stay the same, these things are going to fluctuate. And what all of this means is it's very hard to tell whether this massive expansion of their frequent flyer scheme is actually going to be a good thing or whether it's kind of smoke and mirrors. To be fair to Qantas and to be fair to Vanessa Hudson, the new CEO, or newish CEO, I think she's done like 6 months or so now, they have to balance looking after customers who obviously want more seats to spend their points on, but also keeping the shareholders happy, because clearly you'd far rather be people paying real money for the seats rather than points. So the jury's out as to whether or not this is going to be a good thing. Jake, you're a velocity man yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't. It's because I mainly shop at Coles. Is the one thing. Yeah, I mainly shop at Coles because there's a Coles right near my house, and so your Flybuys points, you can convert them into Velocity points.
Yeah.
And there's a 7-Eleven near my house as well, and 7-Eleven's in a partnership with Velocity. So I accrue, generally speaking, Velocity points instead of Qantas frequent flyer points. But it is noteworthy that this is possibly the first big announcement from the new CEO of Qantas Loyalty, who was Andrew Glantz, who replaced Olivia Wirth at the end of February. I believe Olivia Wirth has gone to Maya now.
Yes, that's right.
So this is the first big announcement from Andrew Glantz as the CEO of Qantas Loyalty. It's an interesting proposition. More reward seats is a good thing, and this idea that you can upgrade them to premium economy, you can upgrade them to business, you could possibly upgrade them to first, because I don't think there are any classic reward seats available in first class. So if you want to fly first class with Qantas on points, that would be the classic plus flight rewards. It is as well interesting to note that I think Qantas Loyalty was one of the only divisions of Qantas that actually still turned a profit during COVID-19. Qantas Loyalty did very, very well during COVID, where, the rest of the airline was practically on life support. And so Qantas Loyalty is always been a big part of Qantas Group's offering, and a big part of Qantas Group's bottom line. So this is really an expansion of the options available under Qantas Loyalty.
Yeah, and as well, like, it's a major part of the business. It's basically kept them going afloat during COVID. But obviously, not only have they had criticism that it's actually quite hard to spend these points, they've also had criticism that the points have effectively devalued over the years. And this is something Qantas deny. They deny that quite vehemently. But in this whole murky world of points, it's kind of very hard to know. Now, they gave us some examples of how the point system would work. So under the new system, and I'm going to read this out slowly so you can all follow. A classic reward economy seat between Sydney and London would cost 55,200 points plus $251 to go one way. If you got a classic plus seat, it would cost 65,800 points. Plus the same payment in off-peak, and 65,900 during peak time. So you can see it's kind of costs a little bit more. There were examples, though, depending on how you compare them, where this was almost twice as much in terms of points. So as I say, in terms of whether this is actually a good deal for punters, the proof will be in the pudding. Now, you can book these flights, I think, from this week, and they are going to start with international midway through the year, and then towards the end of the year they're going to bring some of the domestic flights on. So I would imagine, and you know that frequent flyer nerds are even bigger nerds than our readers. Like, you think the plane spotters are hardcore. When you get into the world of points, they are an obsessive bunch. So what we should do in like a year's time, get a plane points nerd on the podcast to explain whether it's any good or not.
Quite possibly, yeah. Maybe someone from Choice or something like that.
Well, they're not point nerds.
True. They could give some insight though into how good a deal is it from a consumer perspective.
We probably should do work chat on the podcast. But yeah, no, that is probably...
now our readers can see how the sausage is made, Adam.
Yes, I mean, they don't want to see that. On that note, just to go totally off topic, I want to talk about how the sausage is made. I walked into the office earlier today and I kind of walked behind Jake, sat down on my computer screen, and imagine the moment I turned round and saw Jake without a beard for the first time. He didn't give me any warning. He didn't text me the night before being like, oh, just to let you know. It was just there. I almost shrieked. I actually jumped back in my seat.
You have seen me without a beard before.
Yeah, that
Adam.
is true.
You have seen me without a beard before.
That is true, but that was quite a while ago. And that was coming off the back of your last performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was after Pirates of Penzance.
Yes. Anyway,
where I had the amazing mutton chops for Major General Stanley.
Right on that.
On the loyalty points thing, 20 million more seats is 20 million
That's
more
a lot.
seats.
It's a major increase.
It's four times again what they have now. They've basically like quintupled the amount of reward seats they're going to have available every year. It's just that most of the seats are going to be dearer than the 5 million classic reward seats.
We will keep an eye on that anyhow.